This organization is magnetic, the way it draws people in. The mission and vision is so intrinsically good. And these are some of the finest people I've ever worked with and met and hung out with in years. And when you go to the camp in Connecticut, you go away with a high that lasts for days because you just see so much good, and it's amazing. And to try to recreate that here, which Paul Newman started in, I guess, 1988 with 250, 300 kids, is now reaching the entire eastern region, and they touch roughly 40,000 children a year with their in-hospital program, with their family program, with their in-person camps. Here we are renovating, doing a $15 million roughly renovation to River House. We're building a full-scale infirmary here with a fire suppression building, and the River House, which will be converted to mostly family programming. Behind every sick child or very sick child, there's a family in crisis. And so we had been sending children from Lemoores and families from Lemoores and Children's Hospital up to Connecticut, and they'll be coming here to learn how to deal with incredible illnesses that are very debilitating.
It was through a food connection or something with, he was in the food brokerage business, and they were doing something with Newman's Own, and somehow someone put him in touch with Hole in the Wall, and he just loved it. He loved it from the beginning. He started giving personally. He formed a foundation, a charitable foundation, and sort of introduced us all to it. And before long I was going to galas, and then I was volunteering there, and then my kids were volunteering there, and it's just an amazing transformational place. It's just hard to go there and not be moved by it and not get more involved. When I would tell people I'm going to volunteer at a camp for kids with serious illness for a week, they would be like, oh my God, that sounds so depressing. And I just can't even explain how it's like the most uplifting, joyous week of your, When we heard there was a second camp, we've been giving to camp obviously steadily all along. It's a cause that we feel strongly about because we know if my dad were still alive, it's something he would be doing. And we decided on $1 million pledge for the infirmary, the Welcome Center Infirmary, which is being, gutted or is gutted already, and they're working on it.
So one of our biggest liabilities is when we check people in, they have a list of medications from their doctor. Right? Not unusual for a child to have 20 medications, and you have to give them at the right time, and you can't mix up child A with child B, obviously. So sometimes check-in at camp can take 3 hours.
We sat down, we had a list of various projects, and we felt pretty strongly about that just because it's sort of the first contact with camp. It's the Welcome Center. You register there. At one point or another, you're going for medication or treatment. And so it was important for us. He was a first generation American. So I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. Both my parents are from Brooklyn. Immigrant parents who didn't speak English, fought in World War II, but was like delivering soda on one of those old seltzer trucks and going up the stairs, carrying cases of seltzer on his back, and then on the truck, and then owned, then started a beverage, warehouse, and then started franchising them all over Long Island, and then later started, bought a bankrupt soda company. And so really, a true American success story.
What we're going to do here is be able to handle the more serious illnesses that we can't do in Connecticut. Stuff that's like progeria and FOP and diseases where there might only be 20 people in the country that are affected by them, and they've never met another family with that illness, and to be able to bring them here and coalesce would be a wonderful thing. Paul Newman, his idea was to bring kids to camp for a different type of healing. And you hear these stories about these kids coming to camp who have really awful diseases, and they come back and they're like, did they change their medicine? Did something happen? And Paul used to say, let them raise a little hell and experience a different type of healing.